11. Reichenstein Castle. The haunting shadows of Dietrich von Hohenfels, perched on a jagged hill overlooking the Rhine River. Reichenstein Castle in Trechtingshausen, Germany, is a monument steeped in centuries of mystery and dark history. Built in the 12th century, this magnificent castle is renowned not only for its stunning architecture, but also for the eerie tales of hauntings that swirl around it. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, Reichenstein exudes an ominous and enigmatic atmosphere, drawing those brave enough to face the darkness embedded in its past. According to local legend, the castle once served as the stronghold of a ruthless bandit lord, Dietrich von Hohenfels, who ruled alongside his 9 sons. The tragic story unfolded when von Hohenfels' sons were captured and tortured by the authorities. In a desperate attempt to save them, Dietrich pleaded for his own execution, offering himself to the gallows in exchange for their lives. But as he witnessed the death of his sons, he was overcome with a fury that drove him to madness. What remained of his bond with his children was not a family, but a legacy of restless spirits, forever haunting the castle grounds. When his body was found, it was a grotesque sight. His head severed from his body, an image of horror that has been burned into the castle's history. At Reichenstein, strange phenomena are far more than mere rumors. An oppressive, suffocating atmosphere clings to those who dare enter. On moonless nights when silence blankets the air, the sound of heavy footsteps can be heard, echoing through the empty hallways. Occasionally, a cold breeze sweeps through, carrying with it the unmistakable feeling of being watched, as though someone is standing right beside you, yet no one is there. But the most terrifying presence of all is that of Dietrich von Hohenfels himself. Those who have ventured into the castle claim to have seen a shadowy figure standing by the window, its hollow eyes searching for something lost in the depths of time. The sensation is enough to freeze your blood, as if those eyes can see into the very core of your being, reading your soul. The story becomes even more unnerving when visitors recount strange occurrences involving cameras. What should have been clear images instead capture only bizarre light spots, flickering shadows, and indistinct sounds emanating from the dark corners of the castle. Some visitors even report feeling an overwhelming presence near St. Clement's Chapel, where it's said the restless spirits of the dead may have found peace. The air grows thick, as if some invisible force is closing in, watching from the shadows. The tale of the headless ghosts lingers still. Many have spoken of an inexplicable presence, sometimes merely a fleeting shadow, or a strange noise that defies explanation, yet enough to send shivers down the spine. Some claim they felt an unseen hand brush their shoulder, despite being alone in the room. Are the spirits of Dietrich von Hohenfels and his sons still wandering the castle, seeking vengeance for their untimely deaths? Or are these merely figments of imagination, conjured by fear? Come and explore for yourself, and share your own chilling experiences in the comments. 12. Eltz Castle, the resting place of fallen knights' souls. Nestled on the majestic hills between Koblenz and Trier, Eltz Castle stands like an ancient tower, concealed within a lush forest and overlooking the mystical Rhine River in Germany. Built in the medieval era, Eltz Castle is not only a symbol of history, but also a fortress that has withstood centuries of war and invasion. Its preservation is not merely a result of solid walls, but also a divine mission, to protect the spirits of the departed. These walls do not only shelter the living, but also safeguard the souls of the knights and residents who once called this place home, continuing to defend the castle from beyond the grave. An age-old legend tells that Eltz Castle is not just a refuge for the living, but also the eternal home of fallen knights who never truly left. The spirits of these brave warriors who sacrificed their lives for family and country still patrol the castle's halls, as if guarding it once again. These apparitions are not vague shadows, but warriors in shining armor, walking with purpose through the corridors, up the stairs, and into the rooms, resolutely fulfilling their duty to protect the castle. One of the most famous tales speaks of a knight named Conrad, who perished in battle while defending the castle. His soul, said to have been slain in the fight, lingers in the castle, continuing to patrol the rooms and guarding the precious treasures within. On one occasion, a group of unsuspecting tourists visited the castle and, while entering the dungeon, were startled to see a figure in shining armor glide past them without uttering a word. When one tourist dared to ask about the figure's presence, the ghostly form turned, locked eyes with them with a cold, distant gaze, and then vanished into the air, leaving behind an eerie chill. Those brave enough to visit Elt's castle at night often report a palpable, unexplainable presence. While no visible figure appears, strange sounds echo through the halls. Heavy footsteps on the stone steps, the faint clinking of metal when no one is nearby, or whispers carried on the wind from distant corners of the castle. Some visitors have claimed to see a shadowy figure in shining armor glide past, only for it to disappear when they turned around. Especially in the weapon storage rooms, once the home of the knights, tourists have reported hearing soft sighs, as if a warrior were resting after a battle. But the strangeness doesn't end there. When some visitors accidentally touch the walls of the castle, they feel a strange coldness, as though an invisible hand had brushed against them, a chilling sensation that keeps their eyes fixed on the walls. Even more unsettling are the photographs taken near the guest rooms. While no figures appear at the time of the shot, upon reviewing the photos, people have noticed a strange, foggy streak, like a ghostly form standing just in front of the lens. Some even claim to have felt an ice-cold hand touch them from behind, only to turn around and find no one there. A peculiar fact about the castle is that visitors are not permitted to take photos inside, and despite your efforts, the images you capture will never match what you see with your eyes. The photos always come out blurry with strange, inexplicable shapes appearing in them, leaving many visitors bewildered and frightened. What do you think of these mysterious stories? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Has anyone experienced any spine-chilling phenomena during a visit to Elt's castle? 13. Osnabrück, Hunenbetten, the haunted ground of vengeful souls. Located on the outskirts of Osnabrück, Germany, Osnabrück-Hunenbetten is not only a historical site, but also one of the most mysterious and eerie places. Once a sacred pagan temple, the area was the center of ancient worship. However, according to legend, during Charlemagne's invasion, a forced conversion took place with the intervention of Christian warriors. But instead of a peaceful transition, this conversion ended in a brutal massacre that left an indelible mark on the land. The story recounts that Charlemagne's army, in their attempt to force the locals to adopt Christianity, carried out a savage slaughter. Hundreds of pagan priests were killed in a bloodbath that stained the earth. The sacred altar stones of the temple were utterly destroyed, especially the largest altar stone, symbolizing the triumph of Christianity and the eradication of paganism. This sacrilegious act on sacred land led to horrific consequences, the deaths of countless souls, fiercely trying to protect their faith. Imagine standing before the ancient gate of Osnabrück-Hunenbetten, where time seems to have forgotten its marks. Yet in the eerie silence, sudden chilling screams pierce the air, as though souls are struggling in the dark, begging for release from endless torment. You might hear the heavy dragging of chains, as if someone is being pulled away, imprisoned forever in a nightmare with no escape. Especially on the solstices, the air here grows colder and more suffocating than ever before. The dry bloodstains on the stones are not mere marks of past violence. They exude a terrifying power, as if the blood still flows, seeping into the earth, feeding the fury of the murdered souls. Anyone who visits cannot deny the suffocating atmosphere, as though an unseen force is watching every step, lurking in the shadows. Then, suddenly, a cold shiver runs down your spine, as if someone just touched you from behind. It feels as though thousands of invisible eyes are upon you, drawing your soul into the same dark world where they perished. If you dare to turn around, you might catch a glimpse of a shadowy form, a restless spirit trapped between two worlds, forever calling from the depths of the darkness. Every gust of wind carries a sinister sound, the screams, the curses, as if you are surrounded by the vengeful spirits of those who will never forgive. The This is not just a place steeped in a dark history. It is a living nightmare, where anyone who dares to visit must face the ghosts of the past. Dare to face the screaming ghosts from the past? Or will you merely watch from afar, letting these souls continue to haunt? Share your thoughts in the comments below and tell us if you've ever encountered any strange phenomena. 14. Berlin, Zitadelle. Where the past is nails into the present. With its ancient beauty and imposing presence, Berlin Zitadelle stands like an impregnable fortress in Germany. Built in 1557, this place has witnessed countless historical events, from bloody battles to fiery revolutions. Yet, behind its sturdy exterior, Zitadelle is not merely a historical monument. It is also one of the most haunted places, where the darkness of the past refuses to let go. According to legend, Berlin Zitadelle once served as the palace of King Joachim II during the 15th century. After his death, his son decided to lock away the secrets of the royal family and imprison his father's former lover, Anna Sidau, in the castle. The story goes that Anna was not only confined within the cold walls of Zitadelle, but was also tortured by the profound loneliness, eventually dying under wretched conditions. Her death, however, was not an end. It marked the beginning of a chilling curse, as her soul could not find peace. Anna Sidau's spirit, with a pale, frantic face and eyes filled with agony, continues to wander through the dark hallways of the castle, seeking release from the curse she endures. Thus, the name the White Woman has become a terrifying symbol in the legend of Zitadelle. Those brave enough to visit Berlin Zitadelle often recount eerie, haunting phenomena they experience as they step into the castle's chambers. Visitors frequently hear soft sighs, faint calls echoing through the air, as if someone is standing right next to them. As they walk through the dim corridors, a sudden chill sweeps over them, as though the ghostly hand of Anna is reaching out from the shadows. What's even more peculiar is that sometimes, a translucent figure of a woman in white, with a face full of despair, appears in your line of sight. Some have reported seeing her silently standing by the castle windows, staring off into the distance with a sad gaze, as if searching for someone, perhaps her lost lover or the salvation of her tormented soul. But the eeriness doesn't stop there. Other visitors have claimed to hear soft giggles and whispered words carried by the wind, sounds that seem to belong to no world of the living. And during concerts or events held within the castle's grounds, there have been multiple reports of violin or piano music suddenly vanishing, leaving only strange, unresolved notes behind, as if someone was playing with an unclear purpose. Do you have the courage to step into this castle and face a restless spirit? Will you hear Anna's sighs or witness the chilling white ghost again? Leave your thoughts below this video and share your experiences if you've encountered strange phenomena at Zitadelle. 15. Kransberg Castle. The ghosts of war and a dark history. Nestled amidst the desolate hills of the Taunus region, Kransberg Castle stands as an eternal witness to the bloody wars that scarred history. Built during the medieval era, this fortress once served as a sturdy stronghold, but it wasn't only soldiers who guarded these walls. The stones of Kransberg have borne witness to thousands of lives lost, carrying with them a grim history tied to war, massacres, and suffering. This castle has served as a shelter for soldiers during World War II and the Cold War, was once the headquarters for the Nazi Luftwaffe, and later became a prison camp for Nazi war criminals. Each stone, each room, is a grim reminder of death. Since the end of the wars, Kransberg Castle has lost its reputation as a safe haven. Instead, it became a place of confinement for Nazi war criminals, individuals who caused countless atrocities, yet never faced justice. The stories of death and anguish seeped into every wall, into the cold bricks of this fortress. Legend has it that before they died, many of the prisoners were subjected to brutal torture, and most passed away in miserable conditions, denied justice. The spirits of these victims, carrying with them an unrelenting pain, are said to still linger in the dark corridors and bunkers of the castle. Those who dare to visit during the night report hearing the moans of the suffering souls, the grotesque sounds of eerie laughter, and sometimes the unmistakable feeling of being watched by vengeful eyes from the shadows. Those who brave the depths of Kransberg Castle are often confronted with inexplicable phenomena. From the sounds of invisible soldiers marching down the hallways to the heavy sighs of despair and whispers that seem to come from deep beneath the ground, every step inside this place makes you feel as if you've crossed into another realm, where death and darkness continue to dominate. Many visitors and witnesses have reported chillingly bizarre events: windows opening by themselves in the dead of night, the creaking of old wooden doors as though someone is knocking, and at times the ghostly figure of a Nazi soldier silently guarding the entrance. Some claim to have seen specters glide through the halls, their eyes hollow with hatred, as though waiting for revenge for the lives they lost. But the most terrifying phenomenon is the sudden, bone-chilling cold that sweeps over you, as if an invisible hand is brushing against your back. Strange noises emanate from the deep bunkers, where the souls of those once imprisoned are unable to rest. Are you ready to face the restless spirits at Kransberg Castle? Will you hear their vengeful moans or witness the ghostly figures gliding through the darkness? Leave your thoughts in the comments below this video and share your experiences if you've encountered strange occurrences at Kransberg Castle. 16. Haus Fühlingen. Cologne, a house of blood and ghosts from the past. Located in Chorweiler, Cologne, Haus Fühlingen is not just an ancient house, but a place steeped in terrifying mysteries and eerie stories that anyone from Cologne has surely heard of. Over the centuries, this house has witnessed countless lives lost, carrying with it a bloody and sorrowful history, creating an atmosphere that is never quiet, always filled with restless souls unable to move on. The story of Haus Fühlingen begins in 1288, when a bloody battle took place on this very land. Thousands of knights perished during the conflict, many not from their wounds, but from wild horses, driven mad by the chaos of war, trampling them beyond recognition. Although the war ended long ago, the land still holds the ghosts of the soldiers who can never find peace. In the 19th century, Eduard Freiherr von Oppenheim purchased the land and built a villa along with a horse racing track. However, strange occurrences began when he sold the estate in 1907. What seemed to be a peaceful home became a shelter for vengeful spirits from the time of war. Though tales of Haus Fühlingen have been passed down through generations, many still claim to have experienced unexplainable phenomena within its walls. Ghostly figures are seen drifting through the dark corridors, footsteps echo unexpectedly in the empty house, or doors that open and close by themselves without reason. But the most terrifying of all are the restless souls that still haunt the place. One of the most haunting stories is that of a 19-year-old forced laborer who was murdered here in 1943. According to locals, not only was he killed, but his spirit still lingers, crying out in anguish in the rooms of the house. And this was not the only death tied to Haus Fühlingen. In 1962, Gerhard van Kay, a former Nazi judge, took his own life in the second-floor room, in a manner eerily similar to the earlier murder. Strangely, years later, another body was discovered in the same room, with the cause of death being a suicide once again. Many who stand in the bedroom on the second floor claim to feel an invisible presence watching them. A chilling cold runs down their spines, as though an unseen hand is tightening around their heart, sending them into a state of panic. Would you dare to enter Haus Fühlingen at night to face the restless souls? Will you hear the eerie footsteps echoing from the second floor, or feel the oppressive weight of vengeful spirits? Leave your thoughts and experiences in the comments below this video, and share with us if you've ever encountered strange phenomena at Haus Fühlingen. 17. Belitz Sanitarium. Secrets of the Blood-Stained Walls. Located in Brandenburg, Germany, the Belitz Sanatorium is a place that anyone daring enough to set foot in will never easily forget. Opened in 1902, this massive hospital was the largest sanatorium in Europe at the time, originally built to treat tuberculosis. However, throughout its dark history, Belitz has become more than just a place of healing. It's also a site where countless tragic deaths occurred, making it one of Germany's most notorious haunted locations. For many years, Belitz served as a military hospital during the Nazi era, where Adolf Hitler himself was treated. Yet beyond the patients and soldiers who passed through its doors, no one could have imagined the vengeful ghosts born from the walls of this hospital. The building not only witnessed the suffering of the ill, but it also became a battleground filled with violence, where blood was spilled not just by disease, but by crimes of war and hatred. One of the most chilling stories tied to Belitz is the infamous mass murder carried out by the Belitz Beast in 1991. A young woman and her 3-month-old child were brutally murdered in the hospital. Blood stained the floors and their souls were unable to rest, forever haunting the dark corridors of Belitz. But this was not the end of the unsettling events at Belitz. In 2008, a model was also brutally beaten and strangled to death in the hospital by her own photographer. Her death was not just a personal tragedy, but a haunting event for anyone who dares explore this abandoned hospital. The pain, despair, and desperate gasps for breath seemed to echo through every room and every corner of Belitz. Today, Belitz is not only a relic of the past, but also a place that evokes sheer terror. Many tourists come here to explore what remains of the past, but few dare to go alone or stay overnight. Strange noises, footsteps echoing in the night, the heavy breathing of someone standing right beside you, and ghostly figures flickering past the dirty windows all contribute to an atmosphere of tension and fear. Some visitors claim they felt an invisible force pushing them out of the old treatment rooms, now nothing more than haunting reminders of the past. As you walk through the corridors, a chill runs down your spine as if someone is silently watching you, making it hard to breathe. Especially room 101, the site of the brutal murders, is said to be the focal point of the darkest energy in the hospital, making anyone who gets too close feel a cold shiver down their spine. Would you dare to enter Belitz and face the spirits robbed of their lives? Will you hear the heavy breathing or feel the chilling presence of vengeful ghosts unable to move on? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below this video, and don't forget to leave your opinions about the strange phenomena that have occurred here. 18. Waldneil Hostert, Nursing Home, the endless haunt of death, hidden deep within the gloomy forests of North Rhine-Westphalia. The Waldneil Hostert Nursing Home carries a dark past that even its ancient walls can no longer conceal. It is not just a place for caring for the disabled, but a silent witness to the horrific crimes of the Nazi era, a place where death did not come peacefully, but in a way that haunts the living forever. During the dark days of Nazi rule, this place became the center of inhumane experiments, where hundreds of innocent souls suffered slow and agonizing deaths at the hands of cruel perpetrators. From children to adults, the patients were left to endure horrific conditions, treated like lab animals. With strong sedatives injected into their bodies, they were sent into an eternal sleep, their lives taken without any mercy. But not all of them died peacefully. There are souls, people who once lived and suffered in their broken bodies, still wandering the decaying walls of this nursing home. Their ghosts remain trapped in the nightmare of untimely deaths, unable to move on. Today, all that remains of the nursing home is a desolate piece of land, abandoned and off limits. Yet people claim that the restless souls never left. Footsteps echo in the night, not from the living, but from lost spirits, searching for redemption they will never find. You might hear agonized cries, desperate calls coming from behind the crumbling walls, as if the ghosts are pleading for even a moment of peace. A chilling, sudden draft of cold air makes you feel as if someone is silently watching your every move. Perhaps it is the heavy breathing of a ghost, or maybe a shadow fleeting past you. And when you turn around, there is nothing there. But you can clearly feel their presence, an invisible force, inexplicable and pulling you into the dark past. Some people claim to have seen ghostly figures drifting past broken windows, faces stained with blood, eyes full of despair. When you stand near the site, a bone-chilling feeling rises from your feet, as if you are walking over the very souls that suffered brutal deaths here. Every step inside this nursing home will make you feel the weight of the past. You might hear the creaking of old beds, faint groans, and soft cries. These sounds are not hallucinations. They are the voices of the spirit still haunting this place, never to find rest. Do you have the courage to face the ghosts hiding in every corner of Waldneil Hostert Nursing Home? Share your thoughts and leave a comment below this video. Will you dare step into the grim space of those lost souls? Or will you let fear keep you away forever? 19. The Savoy Hotel, Frankfurt, Germany, the haunted echoes of the past. Nestled in the heart of Frankfurt, Germany, the Savoy Hotel stands as an enduring symbol of luxury, its grandiose architecture dating back to the 1920s. A place where history was made, this hotel once welcomed the world's elite, offering an opulent retreat in its refined rooms. Yet behind the elegance and the polished surface, the Savoy has long been haunted by eerie, inexplicable occurrences that have chilled the bones of all who dare to stay. For decades, it has retained its air of mystery, lingering like a shadow, haunted by spirits that refuse to leave. Whispers of the hotel's restless souls have circulated for years, particularly in the stairwells and the guest rooms. According to longtime staff and brave visitors, they have seen ghostly figures materialize in the dead of night, wandering through the halls in eerie silence. One of the most chilling tales is that of a frequent guest who passed away in room 209. Though the man died many years ago, his spirit refuses to move on. His presence lingers in the room, and at night, the sound of knocking echoes through the walls, an unspoken plea for release, as though he is asking for peace from beyond the grave. But the hauntings don't stop there. In the 1930s, a newlywed couple chose the Savoy Hotel as the perfect place for their honeymoon. After a night of restless sleep, the wife vanished without a trace. There was no sign of struggle, no evidence of her whereabouts, and no answers. To this day, some believe her ghost still wanders the halls, forever searching for her husband, whom she would never see again. The Savoy is not merely known for its majestic charm and history. It has become notorious for its strange and unsettling supernatural phenomena. Staff members and guests alike share stories of horrifying encounters, many of which defy explanation. Ordinary objects such as the automatic doors suddenly slam shut in the dead of night, only to reopen moments later as if playing a twisted game. And the shadows, those inexplicable figures that appear and vanish before your eyes, are perhaps the most unnerving. They glide past windows, or sometimes stand at the end of the long, dimly lit hallways, staring, but never moving. On those still nights, when the air in the hotel grows thick with silence, footsteps can be heard on the worn, creaking stairs. These are not the soft tread of a living soul, but a scuffling sound, like worn shoes dragging across the floor. It's the unmistakable sound of someone walking, but no one is there. And if you listen closely on rainy nights, you may hear what sounds like a heavy sigh coming from the empty rooms, like a soul in torment, trapped in the hotel and unable to move on. Guests who've spent the night in the rooms report a cold, oppressive atmosphere, as if something unseen is watching their every move. Some have seen a vague figure, perhaps a man or woman, standing silently in the hallway, their eyes dark and unreadable, staring directly into their souls. But the moment they approach, the figure evaporates into thin air, leaving nothing but the feeling of dread in its wake. The lights flicker, and for a brief moment the oppressive sense of something sinister fills the space, as though a warning is being given. Yet, the most disturbing tale is that of the guest who passed away in room 209. His spirit is not one to rest in peace. On quiet nights, there are reports of knocking from his room, 3 distinct raps, followed by an eerie silence. When the door is opened, no one is there. Just an empty room, cold and empty, as though he never left. And those who have stayed in room 209 tell of waking in the middle of the night, feeling as though someone is standing over them, watching them with an intense gaze. The air grows thick, suffocating, as if an unseen force is pressing in, pulling them toward the darkness. It is as if the ghost of the man is drawing them closer to the world of the dead. Have you ever experienced anything like this at the Savoy Hotel? Would you dare spend the night to test your courage against the restless spirits that dwell within? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear your stories of this haunted hotel. Would you brave the shadows, or would fear keep you at bay forever? 20. Albrechtsberg Castle, Meissen, the mysteries of time and eternal shadows. Quietly nestled by the banks of the Elbe River, Albrechtsberg Castle in Meissen, Germany, stands as one of the most magnificent and ancient castles in Europe, its origins tracing back to the 15th century. Once the seat of the Saxon royal family, this historic fortress has borne witness to countless pivotal events. Yet beyond its architectural grandeur and timeless beauty, the castle is shrouded in a much darker reputation, one steeped in ghostly legends and restless spirits. Even those who have never set foot here are likely to hear tales of its haunted halls, where the past refuses to fade away. Albrechtsberg is not only a historical monument but also a silent witness to bloody wars fought over centuries. Countless lives were lost during these fierce battles, leaving their marks upon the very stones of the castle, where the cries of fallen soldiers and the echoes of brutal conflicts still seem to linger. Over time, the spirits of these lost souls have been unable or unwilling to depart, continuing to haunt the halls where their tragic fates were sealed. Many stories tell of shadowy figures that drift through the castle on moonlit nights. These ghosts are seen gliding past the castle's ancient windows, as if they are trapped in a never-ending cycle, unable to cross over to the other side. One of the most well-known legends speaks of the ghost of a queen who died within these very walls during a bloody civil war. After her death, her spirit remained restless, bound to the castle by an insatiable desire for vengeance. Visitors have reported hearing heavy, labored breathing late at night, as if she were standing just beyond the door, mere inches away. Another chilling tale speaks of a knight who perished in battle while valiantly defending the castle from invading forces. It is said that his spirit still roams the halls of Albrechtsberg, seeking redemption and peace. Tourists have shared unsettling experiences, describing a sensation of being watched as they explore the shadowy corridors. The air grows heavy with a sense of dread as they move deeper into the castle, and when the flickering light from the candles casts long, distorted shadows, it feels as if the souls of the fallen are standing just out of sight, waiting, forever bound to the castle they once fought to protect. There are numerous accounts from visitors who report a sense of being followed as they wander through the castle's ancient chambers. Some claim to feel a cold, unexplainable breeze, as if someone just passed them by, though no one has ever seen. Strange sounds, such as footsteps echoing in empty rooms, make their hearts race and minds tremble. At night, the atmosphere in the castle thickens, and some guests have witnessed windows closing on their own, despite the absence of wind. Perhaps one of the most unnerving occurrences is the fleeting appearance of shadowy figures that seem to zip by just out of the corner of one's eye. These figures vanish when looked at directly, leaving behind an unmistakable sense of fear and unease. The sensation of being watched intensifies when walking down the old staircases, where many report hearing footsteps following them, an unseen presence tracking their every move, as though the spirits of the castle still observe the living, their eyes forever lingering on those who dare to tread where they once lived and died. Have you ever experienced anything strange at Albrechtsberg Castle? Could the ghosts of ancient kings and fallen warriors still linger in the castle's forgotten corners? Share your experiences in the comments below. We would love to hear your stories. Dare you face the shadows that refuse to leave?